Hey guys, so for this week, I chose to assess suicide risk in middle schoolers. I think this is a really important age to assess for this because of how young students are getting in their heads about self-esteem and confidence, and I don't know, I just feel like you hear kids are harming themselves or even committing suicide at a younger and younger age, and we all know that middle school is a really hard time for a lot of people because you're going through so many changes, like physically and emotionally, and kids can be really mean, and I know a lot of you have covered like cyberbullying and stuff like that, so I think that ties into suicide risk. So I chose to do like a little suicide assessment for middle schoolers. It was kind of hard to think of questions that are relatable to younger kids just because it's such a sensitive and hard subject. So I tried to make the questions a little more age appropriate, but you just never know. I feel like kids don't really want to talk about this, but it is really important to discuss because of the way society brings us up, and I feel like we're always just down on ourselves throughout the years, and middle school is just that time where you're figuring yourself out, and it's important for schools to look out for signs of depression and suicide in their little youngsters. So there's like no particular order for these questions. I just kind of typed them up as I thought of them, but first off, I'd want to ask to know if the student knows what suicide is, so kind of get their definition of what it is. Then I'd also want to know if they know what depression is, since those kind of coincide. Then I would ask, do you ever wish you could go to sleep and never wake up? Are you thinking about killing yourself? Have you ever had thoughts of harming or killing yourself? Have you ever planned out a way to kill yourself? Do you have a current plan? Have you ever known anyone that's killed themselves? Have you ever felt that you, your family, or your friends would be better off if you were dead? Have you ever tried to kill yourself? Have you ever been bullied or picked on so much that you felt like you couldn't stand it anymore? Have you ever told someone that you were going to commit suicide or that you might do it? Then I'd want to know how often in a week or a month time did they feel sad for the majority of the day? Have you ever thought that the easiest way out of your problems was to not be here anymore? Do you ever have thoughts of hopelessness or worthlessness? Have you ever noticed any changes in yourself, like withdrawing from favorite activities or hobbies, or isolating yourself from friends or family? And then have you ever harmed yourself in order to kill yourself? So I feel like that's just kind of like a brief initial suicide assessment for middle schoolers. Obviously, there's a lot more questions you could ask. If they are presenting with warning signs, go into a little bit more detail, but I thought this was kind of like a good overview for right now. Obviously, suicide's really near and dear to my heart. I've known a lot of people that have committed suicide, so I've done research on it as well for the conference, so it's really important for me to have people think deeper on this subject and start the learning process and educating kids at a younger age so they know that there's other ways to deal with their problems than to just not be here anymore, as one of the questions said. So yeah, that's my happy subject for the middle schoolers, but I think it's really important for us to have this conversation, even if it is really hard and kids probably don't want to talk about it, just because it's better to get it out there than regret it and something happened to a student and then having to have the conversation afterwards. Also, there's a new show out called 13 Reasons Why, and it's about a girl that committed suicide and how the school kind of went all out after the fact but had never educated them beforehand, and it's a really good show. I recommend us to watch it just because it's kind of related to counseling, just to see like the inner thoughts of a person that went through something like that. So just if you guys have time and want to watch something new, it's a really good show. But thanks for listening, and I look forward to hearing other questions that you could include in my assessment. Thank you.